Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning, and it is January 18th, 2022 and counting. My name is Bob Plass. I am here. It's the Westfield on Weekend show while it's Tuesday. I am here with my super permanent sidekick, Rick Barry, who is, I think, in the studio right as we speak.
Yes,
right?
I am. Good morning.
Yeah. Hey. And Peter Coles, the kitten of the keys.
I'm working on it. The visuals aren't great right now, but I'm working on it.
Okay, so he is a kitten, and he is on the keys, and that was a very mild little kitten voice there, Mr. Rick.
The cat's still asleep, so.
Are you at home or in the studio?
I'm in the studio.
Oh, great. Fabulous.
We actually had to see my stepson off today. He's off to boot camp.
Oh.
So we were up early to see him out as his
He's
recruiter
off to
picked him up.
boot camp for what is that, Army?
Yes.
The Army.
Yeah, he's joining the Army National Guard, yes.
Oh, wow. Interesting. And how old is he, may I ask?
He is 18. He'll be 19 in a few months.
Incredible. Now, that discussion or that decision to go into the Army at this time of life, was that a hard one for him, or and for you guys as well? How does that work in a family for you?
Well, it was more or less a dream of his for the longest time. So he actually wanted to join one of the services. His actually first choice, I believe, he wanted to join the Air Force. And how he came about to the idea of joining the Army I'm not really too sure, but I told him
they might have offered better incentives.
It could have. Yep.
Sure, of course.
Plus he wants to be the military police, so they're going to be putting him through the academy actually after his basic training. So
wild. And when you say the academy, could that be West Point?
No, it's not the West Point. No, it's the Army, the police academy.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
So he'll go through his 10 weeks of boot camp, and then
that is AIT school.
Yep.
It will be MP school.
Yep, his MP school for approximately. I think that was 6 weeks or something like that.
Usually it's 6 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what, because Timmy, my son is Army Guard too, and he did basic in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then he went up to AIT school at Joint Base Langley up in Virginia.
Wow. Peter, how old is Tim now?
Tim is 22.
Incredible. You know, you've got to admire these kids because it never crossed my mind when I was growing up. Of course, it was a different time, but it was never a choice in my mind whatsoever to join the army or whatever. I suppose
Well, it's a
because
different
we were,
world too, Bob. You know.
yeah, and maybe a different army. I mean, or maybe a different approach to what the army really stands for, which is in peace as well as war. I think in our minds, especially a war baby like me. I mean, I was born at the end of World War II. If you can look at the scars and wrinkles and say, oh God, that guy's old. But I was born at the end of World War II. So, and then when I got into a period of time when I had to think about those things. It was Vietnam,
Right.
I mean, like,
That's the other thing too, Bob. You grew up in the Vietnam era, where it wasn't a popular war with people, and so the people lost respect for the military. Where the vision of the general populace is a little bit more enlightened now, where you don't necessarily blame the guy, the grunt in the field. You blame who you should blame, the politicians in Washington.
mm-hmm, right, as we're wont to do.
And that
Yeah,
and that whole thing changed. That whole mindset, I think, changed. Started changing in the 80s, but really came to a focus head when people were coming back from the Gulf War.
yeah,
And you know
and
who?
that idea
Honestly,
that we, pardon?
the Vietnam veterans were the biggest group that came out to welcome every veteran back during the Gulf War. Because I was at a lot of those. I was in college, and I went to Westover a lot to cover troops returning. And the Vietnam veterans were front and center because they said, I interviewed them. I remember interviewing them. We will never let this happen to our warfighters again, ever.
Oh, absolutely. It's an interesting phenomenon. I just admire these young people so much, and their a willingness to put themselves on the line. For me, I thought, oh God, if you're going to put a gun in my hand and ask me to run into a field, no, and be prepared, et cetera, et cetera, I think I'm going to faint, and I'm probably going to be shot.
I think, Bob, had you committed to it, I think if you had embraced it and made your mind up and said you would do it, they could train you how to do it.
Yeah.
Just like with almost
really
anything else, if you have a good attitude, this is what Timmy's drill instructors told Timmy. If you have a good attitude, you can be trained for almost anything. And you know what? Our dispatch director on an interview with Harry Rock said the same thing. If you have a good attitude and you have good people skills, I can train you to do the rest of it, but I can't train you to have good people skills and have a good attitude.
Wow.
But
well, do you really, both of you, do you really look at me? Do you think I am capable of boot camp? Is there such a thing?
I think you could have survived boot camp,
Yes.
Bob. And you know what?
I would, yeah, that's
you
the
would
question.
have you would have ended up in a special services unit, probably as a promotional person for the Army,
as a vocalist, as a vocalist in the USO.
Well,
I think that's
you can't
probably
serve
what I would want to do.
as a volunteer. You could do that, but in the Army, they have specialized units like the Army bands. They have Air Force and radio, television. You probably would have ended up like what's his name in Vietnam? What's his name? The guy that Robin Williams played. You probably would have ended up on the radio.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Adrian Cronauer.
Adrian Cronauer. You probably would have ended up like him, Bob.
Yeah. I mean they will find your strengths and work with you on that and your passion, and that was one of the things with John, and I know Pete's son was the same way. They found his passion, and that's what they trained him for because that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you do get trained on all the aspects of it, but then you have your specialty trainings, and that's where they work on your strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah, basic
Rick,
basic gets you in the Army life. Basic gets you into the Army life, and then AIT gets you into your specialty in the Army life. Now,
what
Rick,
would your specialty? Both of you probably have different. We all have stories about when we're in that period. What's the period now between? Because in my mind, during Vietnam, Once I turned 18, I looked at the period until I was 26, because if I got to 26, then I wasn't going to go to Vietnam, because there was an age thing, you know. So it was 18 to 26.
Hey Bob,
So
I had to register for selective service too, so that hadn't expired when I came up.
No,
I
so
had
did
it,
I.
I didn't realize that.
yeah, it didn't expire until what, the mid '90s or something.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I still had to register for selective service.
Yeah. How about you, Rick?
Yeah, I had to do also sign up for selective service. It never was my thing to join. It was never my passion or whatever to join the military.
Looking back, I should have. It would have made a lot of difference in my life.
Yes. I think a lot of people see that same thing.
Yeah, even me. I mean, like, quite honestly, I think it disconnected me from the world for a long while. Not that led to this, whatever this is today.
You were caught up in the counterculture, Bob. Don't lie.
Was I a hippie?
Probably yes.
Were you? I don't know, Bob. Were you?
I think I was a yippie. Do you know what a yippie is?
No. What's a yippie?
That was a phrase coined in, I think, later after the Vietnam War. A yippie was a young person who really was, a yuppie. I was a yuppie. I forgot.
Young urban professional?
I guess that's what it is, a young urban professional. Yeah. I thought of myself as a young urban professional because I wore those shoes. What do you call it? I still wear them. Loafers. I wore penny loafers with an actual penny. Rick, I had an actual penny in my shoe. This is the real truth.
I don't think you can find penny loafers anymore, can you?
I'm sure you can. If you look.
I buy them all the time. Yeah, of course. I don't know if they've made it so that you can put a penny into the loafer or not. Like in the past, there is I should go and get them. I don't have
right in the tongue. Right in the tongue.
Yeah,
right in the tongue of the shoe. There's a spot for a penny to go in. Right.
Look at you.
Yeah, see,
right in the tug of the shoe.
The tongue.
Tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the tongue of the shoe.
tongue. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what they call that part that you usually hold on to put on your shoe on the front of it, right on the top. That's called the tongue.
Oh, I had, it's been so long. I just discovered that the shoes that I bought in December, here they are. Okay. Bought them online. No, I didn't. I bought them in person. But they're not sneakers.
They're not sneakers? Yeah.
Yeah. Because this inaugural ball coming up with the mayor, which I think has been postponed to March or something, on the invitation, it said something about sneakers allowable or something like that. Sneakers provided, or not provided. If they had to provide sneakers, that'd be wonderful. Because I don't have a pair of sneakers. So apparently we're going to wear tuxedos and sneakers.
Because he's a runner, Bob.
I don't know.
He's a runner, you know that, right?
Oh, there's the connection.
And he walked all over town.
Gee, that's right. He is. Mayor Mike is a runner. Oh, okay, all right. Well, that explains it.
Do I have to explain everything to you, Bob?
Peter, in my life, I think I need somebody to explain stuff. I think telling me what to do when would be a good idea.
Bob needs a personal assistant.
Rick,
how much does it pay? Besides aggravation.
Stop. Besides aggravation. Wait a minute.
You're going to give poor Bob a complex.
I would be so proud and honored to have Rick Berry as my personal assistant. In fact, that's what I'm going to call you from now on. For
your
2 hours a week.
I am your personal assistant.
You are my personal assistant.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Did you ever know? I mean, do you know people that are personal assistants of people?
I don't. No. Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when I dated Sean Young, the actress? Remember that
No.
with that long story?
No.
Well, I had a couple of dates with her, but she, you know who Sean Young is?
Yes.
Yes.
She went through a period where she was on celebrity rehab, folks. So, no, that,
Was it,
that
was it
there's
after dating you or?
no, it was after her obsession with wanting to be Catwoman or something. Yeah, no, well, it's probably
Okay.
after the quote date. Oh, this is an interesting question for you, young men. The word date, does that include when you say I'm dating someone, does that include, is it different than the word courting? Because if I
Now
said
they're
I was dating
synonymous.
somebody, pardon?
They're synonymous.
They're synonymous. Does it include special benefits in a thing called the bedroom?
Yeah. Well, there's now it's a little bit more freer even than the sexual revolution, because now there's a term called hooking up, which means there are no dating or courting or anything like that. So you just go have fun in the bedroom.
Well, I'm all for that in one
Or-
sense, but
I'm not.
Or
'Cause
what's? Or
it
what's,
always ends badly.
Or what's the other
Oh.
thing? Or you Netflix and chill.
Yeah, that's
Wasn't that the biggest thing?
Yes.
oh.
So Bob,
oh,
if anybody's asked you to come over and watch Netflix and chill, it's
They like you, Bob.
they like you.
oh, I had no idea.
It's a euphemism. Yes.
I once met a person in a drinking establishment in New York City, and that person said to me, "Would you like to come home and watch a movie with me?" That would be the same
Yeah.
thing, right?
Same thing. Yes.
Yeah, same thing. Yes.
And so there it was at 7:00, my sitting watching a movie. Now I had no intention of doing anything other than watching a movie.
Well, the other person did.
Yes.
Well, because I had a concept of dating as getting to know someone rather than jumping in the hay with them. When you use that, when did you go? This is personal.
I was a late bloomer, Bob.
Okay. Yes. Okay. But I'm going to ask my personal assistant a personal question, because that's part of the job of being a personal assistant. You answer personal questions.
Does this cross the line of sexual harassment? Do I have to call
Somebody's
HR?
gonna go. Yeah, somebody's gonna go to HR on this one.
Oh my God! Now that I think about it, okay. Personal. When did you? Was there a time that you were courting? What were the terms that you used? I'm seeing Michelle.
Yes.
I'm dating Michelle.
Yeah. And now we're just shacking
We're
up.
watching movies together.
Now we're just shacking up. So.
Oh, that's the next step.
Yeah, shacking up.
I didn't know that expression still existed. I mean, that's an old expression.
Bob, we're not young, you know.
Yeah, but I want to know what the kids are saying today. I mean, is there such a thing as dating without?
Yes.
Dating without living together? Yes, that's what I do.
Dating without, if we want to be blunt,
without
sleeping
sex.
together.
Without
There's
sex.
a booty call, which means you call somebody up and they're at your beck and call and they come over and have a little whoopee.
Yeah. Friends with benefits.
Friends with benefits, yeah.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's all kinds of. Here's the problem with that I've noticed. It's a great idea it's a great a concept on paper, but when you get down to the brass tacks of it, it becomes very messy, because human emotions are human emotions, and you can't just, unless you're really good or you're very callous or vain or whatever, you can't shut down human emotions. And when you have intimate relations like that, there's going to be emotions whether you like it or not. There just is.
Well, the minute you say, I'm going to ask that person out, whatever out means.
You don't have to anymore, though. You can just call somebody up and say, yo, you want to hook up? And then she's like, yeah. and she'll come over and you hook up. No fuss, no muss, Bob.
But you gotta have a number to call first. Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters?
No, trust me, it's out there. It's big. It's big in the late teens and early 20s.
You know, there's Instagram, texting.
I get
all that stuff. You know, kids nowadays they don't talk on the phone. You know,
no, they don't even know how to have a conversation.
Right, and that's the only thing that is happening with this is that all this texting and thing, they don't know how to socialize. You know, and I've always called it, and Pete knows this, is like everybody calls it social media. I call it anti-social media.
Yeah.
So it's being social without being social.
Oh,
I would agree with that.
Assistant. You are absolutely right on the money there.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I'm not one, though, to hang on the phone ever. I mean,
yes,
texting
Bob, you can talk in sentences and not in Twitter speak. Like, if you're texting somebody, you want to get a message across in as little amount of characters as possible because you don't want to type all those words. So you come up with shorthand and things like that. And then when it comes to these kids nowadays, when they try to go for a job interview, they can't even speak in coherent sentences. I see it around here. It's like it's tough for these kids to have a conversation.
Right. We're all the three of us can have a conversation together.
We talk for 2 hours.
Right.
About nothing.
Watch these kids. Watch these kids on Tiger Talk or something. There's a few kids that are very articulate, and there's a lot of kids who are not.
Yeah. So the word that I'm going to use when I start, well, I'm married, so I'm not going to do this, but if I wanted to start dating, no kid today would say, I'm dating so-and-so. They would say, I'm seeing so-and-so. I'm hanging with so-and-so.
I think they use all of those. I think they still use dating.
Yeah.
Do they use dating?
Yeah. I think that's a term that is still being used, especially if you talk to them personally, because if they're texting and stuff, it's like, well, no, I'm chilling with so-and-so tonight, or that's what they're saying. So
yeah.
It's really weird.
It is very weird. How do we get on this from where we got from?
I don't know.
And where were we when we got to this?
To this point, I don't know. It's your show. We're just here to.
We're here for the ride.
Yes, you're the
captain. Just here for the ride.
You're the captain of this ship. So.
That's right, personal assistant. Exactly right.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Hey, the Ronettes. Ronnie Spector died this past week.
Saw that.
Yes, so did I.
Yeah. Was she was married to Phil Spector, right?
Yes.
I think so. She was really he was really kind of creepy, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Didn't he go to jail?
I was going to say, isn't he didn't he go to jail, or is he still in jail? Is he?
I think he died in jail. I think the man.
I think
died
Ronnie
in
Spector
jail.
died. Yeah.
That's not where Ronnie Spector. Phil died in
Phil
jail.
Spector. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Ronnie is a woman. She doesn't have an E on the end of her name, so what I would say is that we should honor Ronnie Spector. That's a song from my past. Is it? That's not really. This "Be My Baby" song reminds me of my youth. That doesn't remind
Phil
you.
Spector died January 16th, 2021.
In French Camp,
California.
Does it say
how he died?
Complications of COVID-19. That means he was out of jail.
So he was. Oh wow, he was convicted of murder. I think he murdered his girlfriend. Or something.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he was actually still in jail. It says the California healthcare facility inmate Phil Spector was pronounced dead at 6:35 p.m. on Saturday, January 16th at an outside hospital. So he was still in jail. They must have sent him to the hospital.
He'd been serving in prison since 2009 for the murder of Lana Clarkson, a nightclub hostess whom he had taken to his home after a night of drinking in 2003.
So he wasn't dating Lana Clarkson.
Nope, he hooked up.
That was a hookup that went bad.
That was a bad hookup. Okay.
Ended up with a bullet hole in somebody's head.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Ronnie Spector, his
See what I mean? The
former-
emotions get involved.
oh yeah.
It's always messy.
Beware of those 3 words. I love you.
Why, Bob?
No, I know it. I'm just saying. You just said emotions get involved. At what point do
No,
you
only
get
if you try to separate them from certain things.
Oh,
So our
okay.
body, the human genome and most animals are hardwired to procreate. So all your being procreates. So when you do the action, you can't. It's tough to separate the action of procreation from the emotion of procreation.
I think I did it. I think I did it when I was a kid. Maybe I still do it, but
Just saying.
I think I get it, but I never got it. If you get the expression,
Right? No, I got it. You're wired a little bit differently, but in general,
was.
yeah.
I was. It was a different time. We were taught to say leave room for the Holy Ghost, as Sister Mary.
Well, that's
Elizabeth.
religion trying to get in the way of biology. That's different.
That's the nun trying to get in the way of my dancing close at the prom.
Right. That's religion trying to
Leave
get in
room
the
for
way
the
of
Holy
biology.
Ghost. Yeah.
I'm not saying
But she was that was her code for no hooking up. No hooking up.
back then
No
you used to
going
call it
back to
submarine
watch a
races.
movie.
Submarine races, Bob.
You're going to watch the submarine races.
Oh my God, I haven't heard of that. All right, so I haven't thought of that. You got to explain that term to me.
No, Bob. I think you get it just fine.
Yes.
Let's not have to explain it to the younger kids.
Yes.
My personal assistant and I will have a very personal conversation.
It may come back to haunt us if we teach that saying to the younger generation.
Correct, yes.
No, that's true. Would you like to go for a submarine race, darling? Really? Yeah.
All right, Bob, I'm
Anyway.
playing the music
All right,
now.
we're going to play Be My Baby in honor of Ronnie Spector, who really, this is one of those great rock and roll classics that's always, you can buy it on KTEL, I suppose. Anyway, Be My Baby.
The night we met, I knew I needed you so. And if I had the chance, I'd never let you go. So won't you say you love me? I'll make you so proud of me. We'll make a turn
provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
Right here on WSKB 89.5.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is January 18th, 2022 and counting. And my name's Bob Plass. There's my personal assistant, permanent sub, Rick Berry. Over to my left as you watch the screen, or my right as you watch the screen. I don't know which is it?
Your
Peter?
left, yeah.
On my left, okay, is Peter Coles, the kitten of the keys.
Oh, by the way, I
By
stepped
the way,
on that on
what?
purpose.
That's all right. Good.
So Bobby G had a bit of a health setback. He had to go in the hospital again.
Oh my God,
but he
no,
is
tell me.
Pneumonia, and he is improving. So he's slowly
my
getting
God,
better.
good. Which hospital is he? Oh, you're maybe not supposed to say that aloud.
I can tell you off air, Bob.
Okay, gotcha.
But I did bring him home originally, and then 2 days at home, and he had a setback, and he had to go back in. But he said he's improving. They're working on getting him a visiting nurse to come.
Oh my gosh, is it
because of pneumonia?
Is
He
it
had
the
pneumonia.
dreaded COVID? Is it COVID?
Well, he had COVID, but then he let it go too long, I think, and pneumonia set in. So there's the peril. If your symptoms don't go away after 5 days, you should be contacting your doctor, because if you're not improving, then especially if you're vaccinated, if you're not improving, then you probably have pneumonia setting in, and you should really look into that. And that's what happened to me. Remember right off the bat in 2020, or was it 2020? Yeah. In the beginning of 2020, when Kenny made us all sick.
Oh, you mean he's calling himself
Patient
Zero now.
Yeah, I coined the term for him.
Oh, okay.
But when we all got sick,
Typhoid Kenny.
Yeah, we all got sick. I felt after a couple days it was getting worse, not better. So I went and got treated, and I got treated for walking pneumonia is what they called it at the time. But yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, Jessica Martin has just. I heard the bell ring.
Bob, somebody's at the door. Bob, somebody's at the door.
You are muted, Jeff. Jessica.
Good morning.
Huh? There you are.
I'm unmuted now. How are you?
Oh, wonderful.
Let me figure out the boxes. Hold on a second, Bob.
All right.
You guys
Morning,
talk amongst
Jessica.
yourselves.
How are you?
All right.
I'm good, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I'm sorry to have left you in the studio alone this morning. I almost came in, but I said if Bob's staying cozy, I'm staying cozy.
That's
the only
okay.
reason Bob is staying cozy is because he's lazy.
Finish that sentence.
Yeah, what was the end?
LAZY, not the parking lot down in Bradley.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh,
And
no,
the other
it's that.
and the only reason I'm here is that my girlfriend is home sleeping, and I didn't want to disturb her because I know the dog would be in and out trying to figure out what I'm doing in the living room.
Oh,
Like she
That
always
is kind
does.
of you.
Like she always does.
I
had less consideration.
Yeah.
Well, you also had more of a drive too, so we can cut you some slack for that.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm 5 minutes down. I'm 5 minutes down the road. So
Yeah. Peter, there is a screen on my screen. Oh, that's your shoulder. I couldn't figure out what I was looking at.
Yeah, I gotta fix that next, Bob. One thing at a time.
Okay. I thought we were in a car.
I need to make Jessica, proper before I do myself. You see,
Well,
ladies
you know what?
first, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love the way we look when we're coming from home, sort of like talking heads. I mean, the lighting and everything, this glow from the fire of my my
I was gonna say,
torch
you have a
over
nice
here.
lamp on? Is that a nice lamp as
It
opposed to
is
my
it's a
fluorescence?
lamp. See, wait a minute, I'll turn it over.
Bob has mood lighting.
It's his
I like it.
it's his natural glow.
It's my natural glow. It's the sun
Yeah.
coming up over the hills over there. I'm
It's his aura that he's giving off that is
yeah. Jessica, I want to say this. Is that a new hairstyle? A new hair
Knew it.
color?
I was gonna get a wig, so it's a new style because you don't see my hair straight a lot. I do wear my hair straight sometimes, but not as often. But it is
Yeah.
significantly darker than the last time you saw me. So
Yes. Was that something you ate?
yeah, yes,
Oh, Bob.
definitely was. It was something I ate. I'm gonna try to get it back to normal. I don't know. I said if Bob likes it, I'll keep it. So I don't.
Yeah, but he hasn't seen it in person, so you
me and
can't.
that blonde phase that you went through. I was very nice to you during that.
You were, but you like the dark better.
I love I love Jane Russell as opposed to Marilyn Monroe.
Okay, I'm
You
with
get
that.
the reference?
I think
As
it's.
a brunette, I respect that.
I think it suits your personality more, honestly.
Yeah.
The darker hair.
The darker hair, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so strange that and it's terrible. This sounds like there's a sexist thing going on here.
No,
because
Bob.
we
because
we
my salt.
never-
People say my salt and pepper complement my personality really well.
Oh, sure, but we never. Men are never referred to as. I don't refer to if my personal assistant Rick would walk through the room, I wouldn't say, "Look at the now here comes a brunette that I want to speak to," or "Here comes a blonde that I want to speak to."
That's
We
true.
don't do that.
Men do not get called by their hair color so much. That's true.
No,
unless
no.
unless you're a redhead, then they'll call you a ginger.
That's true.
Oh, that is true. Oh my God, are you a ginger in real life, Rick?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay. Just
I've got
wondering.
I had jet black hair, thick jet black
But
hair.
there's no expression for jet black hair
No.
because a black head, and that sounds really awful. To tell the truth.
Bob, that's something that happens when you let a infection fester.
Oh. No, but isn't that interesting? I don't know if you guys ever thought about that, but has women ever thought about that? The idea that we refer to women as their hair?
No, I never thought about it until you were so considering of each color I changed.
Personally,
But you're right. It's sexist that we get called by hair color and men are just get to be. Although I suppose we would say like the bald guy or the guy with the beard. So
yeah,
there's that.
Well, that's true. Except you but I would never. Oh, it would be impolite for me to say the bald woman.
I think if a woman was bald, she'd be a bit more sensitive.
Yeah. I was
Unless she
having
was Sinead O'Connor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a real issue. I had a discussion once with my cousin Gina and our great friend Ethel and other folks about the that men can grow bald, but when women start losing their hair, it is oh my God, I got to do something right away. Whereas men are a little less they just let it go. And there's a wonderful woman at one of the banks that I go to that has she's very young and it's balding. And initially I could see that she was doing the comb over that men do, and now she sort of just said, "This is who I am," and you know what? I've seen it. Her confidence level has increased so much because she finally said, you know, rather than hide what's happening in my hair, my hair loss, I am going to show it for the world and say, this is me. I just, I didn't, I have not mentioned it to her because that's not something that you do. Is that right? Personal assistant, you don't talk about someone else's hair unless you're Bob and Jessica on a show trying to fill 5 minutes.
If you're friends with them, yes, you do. But if a complete stranger, no, not at all. Or do you talk about their lack of hair? Isn't that is bald the politically correct term, or is it follically challenged? No.
Well, I'm gravitationally challenged, so you never know.
Yeah, but that's very interesting. I think
Ooh, yeah.
I've said to men, take their cap off. I want to see what you look like underneath that cap.
Bob, that's very rude.
You mean like this, Bob?
Yeah. Oh, look at how handsome he is. Jessica, take a good look.
I'm getting right in there.
There's a glare off of the lights in here, so
Yeah. No, I know it. It's not the first thing I say to somebody at all. But if we've been talking for an hour or two, and he mentions how my advanced age, and he says to me, "I love your hair color," I might say to him, first, that's never going to happen between men. Rick will never say, "I love your hair color, Bob."
Well, Bob, are you a natural blonde?
No.
No?
I'm not blonde. Did you think I was a blonde?
Well, your hair's awfully light.
It is. I've always wanted to be something other than no, that sounds so awful. That's not true. I've never wanted to be something other than what I'm not. I am, whatever that means.
I have a funny thing to add. When I was younger and I would be out, socializing and meeting people, I used to ask bald guys, "Are you bald because you shave your head, or do you shave your head because you're bald?"
Oh, just a good conversation.
Needed to know if you had hair or not.
Oh, very interesting. That's a great question. Speaking of that, what word do you use when you're dating somebody?
I was listening earlier. I think dating is appropriate. It's the universal. It's the new word for courting, right? You're seeing someone, you're getting to know them, you're taking them out. May or may not be hooking up when you use dating, right? So I think it's a loose term for a casual relationship that hasn't been solidified yet, right?
I got it. Now, if you
I like that term, solidified.
Yeah. You haven't had the talk.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I have a photo here. There's Bob's original hair color.
Love that hair.
Oh my God! Look at that. There's Dennis when he was in his comb over stage, and that's the mayor's son, Rick Sullivan. Oh, he was a mayor once. That's not. That's the mayor's father.
That's Dick.
When he was
that's
young.
Dickie.
Yeah. But look at that hair. Would you say that guy needs a haircut today? You probably would. You'd probably accuse me of wearing a wig, as a matter of fact.
No.
Or it's helmet-like. It looks like a helmet.
I feel like that's passed now. Kids grow their hair like that still now.
Do they?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
A lot of hair. You've got the man bun now. You've got all kinds of long-haired young male looks.
Oh, the man bun.
I would have had a man bun.
I'm sorry. I can't
enjoyed a man bun.
I can't deal with a man bun. I'm just sorry. No. Just no.
It looks like one of the characters from Dr. Seuss. Every time I see that, that's all I can think of.
The mayor of Whoville or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we should take a little break today. Hey, that "Be My Baby" song by the Ronettes led me to think, oh, that sounds familiar. "Be My Baby." And then I thought there was another song called "Be My Baby," and it turns out that John Michael Montgomery, the country western person, cowboy, has a song called Be My Baby Tonight. So we'll go from Be My Baby with Ronnie Spector to Be My Baby Tonight with John Michael Montgomery. This is actually a pretty good song, which led me to another song, which I'll play after in the next break, and then I'll get done with my baby. If I said to you, be my baby.
I know you've heard that worn out line about love at first sight. Well, I never knew those words were true till you walked in tonight. All it took was just one look, knocking me off of my feet. I'm not a man of many words, so I'll make this short and sweet. Could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, take a chance, slow dance, make a little romance. Honey, it'll be alright. Girl, you got me wishing we were hugging and a kissing and a holding each other tight. So could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? I'm not trying to come on like some rhinestone Romeo. I'm looking for a whole lot more than a one-night rodeo. What can I do to prove to you I'm laying it on the line? I'll even get down on my knees just to beg you one more time. Yeah, could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, take a chance, slow dance, make a little romance. Honey, it'll be alright. Girl, you got me wishing we were hugging and a kissing and a holding each other tight. So could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, I'll take a chance, slow dance, make a little romance. Honey, it'll be alright. Girl, you got me wishing we were hugging and a kissing and a holding each other tight. So could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight?
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It's January 18th, 2022. Oh my God, I almost got it wrong. 2022 and counting.
Yeah, we don't want to repeat 2020 again.
Huh?
We don't want to repeat 2021 or 2020
Oh,
again.
no, that's very, very true. I've been very good at remembering 2022, that it's the year. That's the first time that's happened. I can't believe it. That was a very aggressive man in a bar asking somebody out.
Yes.
Would you want
to be my baby tonight?
Yeah.
Great song.
And that word tonight is the difference. Would you like to be my baby? That would be a little, would you run for the hills if John Michael Montgomery said that to you, Jessica?
Are we dropping the tonight? Because I don't know. That's a very weighted question. Because maybe for tonight.
And we'll see where it goes from there.
Maybe not long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's very appropriate that it's interesting when you start to look for connections. You know, I make up our what we're going to talk about or maybe talk about list, uh, and as one thing as a source. Last night I said to somebody, I think online, one of our favorite listeners, Matt Jones, was uh, texting me saying how much he enjoyed a recent show that Kenny had with Kathy and Rock Palmer talking about history or something, and um, and I was saying, I wrote him and I said thanks for the kind words, but the question for me is tomorrow I can't think of anything to talk about, and right now I'm kind of concerned that I don't have anything to talk about. um I went to the Cape this weekend, and it was with to visit my octogenarian friends. I love them, Ethel and Peter, as you all maybe know them. And But it was, uneventful in its own way, and there was nothing happening, and I said to myself, I, I'm at a loss for words and stuff. And so, strangely enough, as looking for fodder to discuss, you, I always go to this site called National Holidays and Observances. Rick will tell you, and there is listed what today is as a national holiday or an observance day. And today happens to be Thesaurus Day. Thesaurus Day. Tell me about a thesaurus. As our book, oh, listen, everybody. First, it's Jessica Martin. She's
Good
a
morning.
hiver, my realtor, and also a real wonderful book reader. Okay, so we always have a little discussion, but today happens to be a thesaurus day. What is a thesaurus? I'm
I love,
asking.
I love a thesaurus.
You
So
love a thesaurus.
I
You
do.
love me some thesaurus.
I love me some thesaurus. And funny story, this is kind of a weird conversation to just be having with your husband, but Sean and I were talking about the thesaurus versus the dictionary just yesterday because we
No.
yeah, so the Googling, we were talking about how you have to pick up your phone even when you're reading a real book, because a lot of times when you're reading, you'll come across a word that maybe you don't know, so you want to look it up in the dictionary.
Right.
Side of that, when I'm writing something, I'll sometimes think of a word and I'll say, ooh, I want a better word for that. And that's where the thesaurus comes in. I can't say the word.
Most people can.
Thesaurus.
Yeah. Who's the most famous thesaurus?
The most famous?
No,
Oh.
there's to me it was Webster's dictionary.
Merriam-Webster.
Merriam-Webster. Yeah. Does she also have a thesaurus?
Yes. Actually, just
Merriam and Webster were two guys, by the way.
yeah. Yes, there were two guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
and their office is in Springfield.
Webster, we called her.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the funny thing is the funny thing is I was over at the Volleyball Hall of Fame the other day. We were doing an archiving project, and we were going through a bunch of stuff, and there was in one of the boxes was a thesaurus from like 1972 in one of the books. And it's like, wait a minute. Do they come out with a new one every year, just like they do a dictionary?
I'm sure they do.
Do you think so?
I don't know. I just didn't realize, that they dated them. I thought, every once periodically they would come out with a new one, but it was from 1972, and I should have grabbed it, not even thinking today was National Thesaurus Day.
Yeah, yeah. It's Roget. R-O-G. It looks like Roget, but it's Roget's thesaurus is the famous one.
Roget.
It sounds to me that would be kind of a nice job, though, to have people. The thesaurus just is listing, right? It's just lists of words that mean the same thing or close to.
Courting becomes dating, becomes hooking up. So yeah, that's
Oh my God. Yeah. Talk amongst yourself. Rick, find out why it's called a thesaurus. Is that some kind of dinosaur? Or something?
I always thought it was.
What does it mean? Thesaurus. I'm going to get the thesaurus. We're going to look up what they said what are words for dating in my thesaurus, which is
There you go.
which was published in 1872. 1 second.
A thesaurus is it's a book that lists words in groups of synonyms and related concepts. I have trouble with the synonyms.
Roget's has been in publication continuously since 1852.
Wow.
Bob's gonna go get an antiquated version for us.
The word thesaurus was first used in 1852 by Peter Mark Roget for his Roget's Thesaurus.
Interesting.
Word for thesaurus. Here it comes.
Yep.
The
Here it
bad
comes.
news is, I don't know where the hell my thesaurus is went. James has put my books in order on the shelf.
Son of a gun.
Uh-oh.
The word thesaurus comes from the Latin thesaurus, which in turn comes from the Greek thesaurus, meaning treasure, treasury, or storehouse.
A storehouse of words. That sounds so good. A treasury of words.
Until the 19th century, a thesaurus was any dictionary or encyclopedia. It was
now
Roget
that's a fact.
in 1852 who coined the term of synonyms being a thesaurus.
Wow. Okay. So would you look up personal assistant or producer, please? Would you mind looking up what they have for dating as words for dating? That will help us in the overall theme of the first hour of our show, which is about to end. And and folks are saying a whole hour on dating, not real dating.
Jessica,
word
did you know what you
dating.
were getting yourself into this morning?
I never do, but I keep showing up. So what's wrong with me, right?
I'm sure we could find a word in the thesaurus for that. There must be.
All right,
something.
so according to the interwebs, date is the noun, dating is the verb, and according to definition number 2, to go out with someone in which whom someone is romantically or sexually interested. So the synonyms are to go out with, take out, go around with, go with, be involved with is grayed out, be romantically linked with is grayed out, see, court, woo, go steady with, step out with, track square with is also grayed out.
Track? That's kind of creepy.
Yes.
Ooh. Ooh.
Wooing.
Wooing. When was the last time you wooed?
That's
And
old
what do
school
you
right
do
there,
when you
Bob.
woo? You're wooing somebody. Oh, I know what it is. You're putting on your tie. I'm wooing somebody. I'm gonna wear my I'll wear my green Westfield and Weekends T-shirt with the hole in it right there.
He dressed up just for us, Jessica. Can't you tell?
Oh my goodness.
This
You
is
know,
2000. Actually, I've had this T-shirt since 2007. It says it on the back.
So, wooing, wasn't that
this T-shirt is older than some children.
wooing? Wasn't that an episode of How I Met Your Mother?
What is that?
The Woohoo Girls. Did you guys ever watch the How I Met Your Mother?
I loved that show, but I don't remember the particular episode. That was a very funny show.
Yes.
The Woohoo Girls.
Yes.
Oh yes.
It gives the whole premise is all these group of girls are out at a table at a bar and you hear them woohooing and there's a reason they're woohooing and hyping it up, and it's actually pretty funny.
Do you want to know how we get? Do you know how we get there with Bob Plass? I have the quintessential Bob Plass.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, it won't play. Oh, never mind.
What was that?
Well, I'll find it. Trust me. Give me a second.
Woo-hoo.
Hold on. This is how we.
Woo-hoo, it's
This is
Tuesday.
how we get to where we get with Bob Plass.
Tell you what
Okay.
I want. I can't even. I'm gonna see if I can do it slowly. Tell you what I want. What I really, really want. Tell you what I want. What I really, really, what I want is this song to end.
He just did the
Really,
William,
really.
he just did the William Shatner version.
This is how we get to where we get with Bob Plass.
Well, at any rate, we've wasted another whole hour, and in the next hour, Jessica Martin, hiver, realtor, book reader, reveals to us the secrets of success dealing with the Plast family capital gains.
Oh boy.
All right.
And the saga
That's-
continues.
Yes. And to end our beautiful hour of talking about dating, Walking My Baby Back Home by James Taylor was
Just
an
gets
old,
weirder
very
and
old
weirder.
song, a sweet song. And Walking My Baby,
Great.
who was
great
your
song.
baby? You know. Do you? Hey, Jess,
Yes.
I know that sometimes spouses refer to their wives or their girlfriends as mama. If somebody called you mama,
It would be weird.
it would.
Something
Come on.
about body parts being affected by a boot.
It would be a little weird.
What if I called you? Could I call you personal assistant, Rick Barry? Could I call you Rick Poppy, just as an affectionate term, Poppy?
Big Poppy? I've been called. I used to get called that all the time at work. But
You're kidding me.
no, it never
I must have
bothered
been
me.
channeling that,
Actually,
Big Poppy.
I believe in the Spanish culture, isn't that a term of endearment?
It's a wonderful
It's
term
a
of endearment.
Big Poppy.
Which was why Bob's asking permission. He needs
Yeah.
your consent.
Big Poppy.
I'd like to call you Big Poppy. I'd like everyone to meet Big Poppy, my assistant.
Oh, that's all you want to do. Just
I just want to introduce you to people like that.
Yes.
I can't wait when we're socially out at a party and I'm going to introduce you as Big. This
Big
is my
Poppy.
personal assistant, Big Poppy.
And
What do you do?
and
Take off your hat and bow? What do you
Yes.
do? With
No, I'll just keep the media away from you and tell them that there's no flash photography and no pictures without the expressed written consent of your publicist.
That's very true. No autographs, please.
No autographs.
No autographs. All right. James Taylor's Be My Baby Tonight. It's great. See ya.
Gee, it's great after staying out late, walking my baby back home. Arm in arm over meadow and farm, walking my baby back home. We go on harmonizing a song, for she's reciting a poem. Owls fly by and they give me the eye, walking my baby back home. We stop for a while, she gives me a smile and cuddles her cheek to my chest. We start to pet, and that's when I get her powder all over my vest. After I kinda straighten my tie, she has to borrow my comb. One kiss, then we continue again, walking my baby back home. After I kinda straighten my tie, she has to borrow my coat. One kiss, then we continue again, walking my baby back home. Walking my baby back home. It's me, I'm just walking my baby back home. Nice night.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at betsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Hey, Bob, just before we go, I'm going to go out and take a
Yes.
picture of it, but there's a beautiful moon setting out there, and now there's just a little bit of pink on the clouds right below it. I want to get a picture of that. It is beautiful out right now.
Oh, would you go out and get a picture and show us?
Absolutely. It's beautiful out there.
That's the wolf moon.
The full wolf moon, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm going to take a picture.
Wow, it's
I'll be back.
Tuesday, everyone. It's Wolf Moon time. And we are joined by an expert about wolf moons. That's my personal, that's Big Poppy. my
Yeah.
personal-
Who's the expert?
Everybody's an expert now because we got Google. Google's the expert.
That's exactly right. Jessica Martin from JessicaMartinRealty.com is here. And also the Martin Hives on Facebook. Did I get that right?
I don't think the Martin Hives is on Facebook, but it is a .com. So you'll find it if you type it into that Google machine. Thank you.
Oh, there we are. We are.
And is there? I've been seeing like pop-up ads for something coming up in the area about learning to be a beekeeper. Is there a class or something that I see?
Yay! I'm so glad not only that you saw that, but that you mentioned it. Yes, that is the Hampden County Beekeepers Association, of which I'm a proud member, and I am on their board of directors. And every year in January through April, beginner's beekeeping course. And last year and this year it will be on Zoom, which is great because now we can also reach beekeepers who come to Hampden County to actually take the classes. So now your whole family can take the class. If you live far away, you can take it on the couch together. It's a super, super fun hobby, but yeah, totally worth it in my opinion. Even if you don't end up keeping bees, you can answer all those questions that have been just wanting answers in your brain about the honeybee.
By the way, Jess, I stole your graphic off the website, and I've been running that on my community bulletin board, and it's scheduled to expire as soon as the class closes. So
that's where I saw it.
Yeah, you saw it on Channel 12 probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't that
Amazing.
wonderful?
Yeah, and Mr. Sperry, who works at the school, is also a board member. He's the vice president of our beekeeping club, and I know he's got. I'm not sure how the hives are doing over there, but there were some hives at the high school.
I think he keeps tabs on them. They're up halfway up the hill.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's really
Why
interesting.
is it January that you do this course? Is there something happening with bees in January?
Great question. No, there is nothing happening with bees in January, which is why it's a great time to learn, because in New England, the season starts like late March to April. So you want to be prepared to start your season, because if you don't get your bees in the very, very early spring, you have to wait till the following year.
Oh gosh! And how is the delivery on bees during this COVID time?
It seems to have gone same as it always was last year. It's done outside. You don't really bring the bees indoors. So we have a professional beekeeper in our club who actually hauls bees around the country for pollination and things, like has thousands of hives. So he'll take a trip down to Georgia, and one of his home bases, he has a place in Georgia, but one of the home bases is Southwick. So he'll come up from Georgia with a trailer full of bees, and then we'll go out to his farm and, pickups outdoors. So.
Wow. And for folks who are listening, let's say in Wisconsin or elsewhere, where would you go? You put in bee products online, or what's the word that if I wanted to find me some good bee, all right. Geez, that sounds so bad, doesn't it?
Yes, Bob, it does.
Insects or the equipment. You can just like we've been talking about the Google machine, you can type it in, but beekeeping supplies, honeybees for sale. Those are some keywords that'll get you where you need to go. And I mean, surprisingly, there's more out there than you would think, because it seems like a small, crazy thing. But once you type it in, you're like, oh, I can get bees here. I can get bees there. I can get them shipped in the mail. I can go pick them up. So it's
All
a
right.
real business. Crazy.
Picture
cool.
picture mission is done, Bob. Here you go.
Oh,
Oh, beautiful.
look at that.
Looks beautiful.
All right.
So, but and on that point, when last snuggling with the kitty, but last
I'm not going there.
No, that's Cleo. My girlfriend's cat absolutely adores me. So.
Oh, I love it.
She was comfy yesterday, sleeping on my right at the base of my head.
So
I love it.
Last year when we were down at Epcot Center at Disney World, they have a whole section there on beekeeping, which is really interesting. Because when I was talking to the guy, and we were there during the Food and Flower Expo, or Flower and Garden Expo, which is, if you've never been, alone in Epcot Center, their floral arrangements or their gardening is absolutely gorgeous, and their landscaping is. But during this time, it's stepped up probably 3 or 4 notches. And talking to the guy, and he said that they are, at 365 days a year, they are tending the hives.
They have better weather
right,
too.
but for pollinating of all the flowers and keeping them alive, which was pretty interesting in talking to the guy and how they do it. And the bees don't seem to bother anybody. I mean, when I was talking to him, there was a lot of bees around us, and they were not bothering us at all.
Well, they're Disney-fied bees.
They're cast members. They can't bother the guests.
They're animatronic bees. Yeah.
They're going to be sent off. They'll be in downtown, downtown Tallahassee in 2 weeks. If they
those
tend
Pixar bees don't sting on property. If
Yeah.
you get you off property, they'll sting you. But no, that's never happened.
Yeah.
Happy bees shouldn't sting.
No, they're drone
if
bees.
They're happy and they're busy.
They're drone bees. They're just keeping tabs on you with their little micro cameras, watching you, what you're doing, and feeding it back to them.
Those are the NSA bees. They're different.
And in a very funny story, drone works both ways there, because the drone bees, we get the joke, but drone is also a male bee, and male bees actually can't sting. So that's a whole nother side of it. If they were drones, they couldn't sting.
So it's the females who are stinging us. That makes more sense now.
Yep.
Would you like to come home and sting me tonight? Baby bee.
Is that so after they're done mating, they can kill the male?
Yeah, well, so the queen is the only one that gets to mate, but the male does die after mating with her. So yes.
Is that the bees that we see? We should never ever be afraid of a bee, or you never get between a bee and his honey.
Yes, do not get between a bee and his honey. And there's no reason, I don't think there's any reason to be afraid of any bee, honeybee or otherwise, because even other bees that are pollinating aren't going to sting you unless you're fully, coming at them. If you accidentally step on one or squeeze one, or, however any of us talk about, oh, we got stung that time in the garden, or it's wasps that will sting you in an aggressive manner. Like if you're close to their nest or they're trying to eat your food, they're a little bit more aggressive because they don't die when they sting. Honeybee will die when it stings, so the sting is the last resort.
Oh gosh. Okay. And can you tell the difference between a male bee and a female bee just buzzing around you?
Yes. Yeah, there's actually a really big difference. The worker bees are smaller, and their back end with the stinger comes to like a point on the end, and drones are very round, so they're like capsule shaped almost. They're kind of bulbous. They have bigger eyes and they have big round rumps, and they look bigger. And there's so fewer of them in a hive that when you see a drone, it's so much larger that a lot of people will be like, "There's the queen," and it's like, "No, that's not the queen. That's just a drone."
Yeah. Interesting.
Do they look furry? I mean, yeah. So the drones are the furry ones.
They're all furry. The honeybees all have the little hairs on them. And it's funny because you can actually tell the age of a bee by how hairy they are, because when they come out, they're all fluffy and nice. But then after they've been out flying around and working their whole lives, they get a little ragged and they start to
Geez,
Oh,
you're
see, we're
talking.
bringing everything back.
Quite kind of like all of
You're
us.
talking about me there.
Yep, they start balding in their old age at 6 weeks,
Oh, wow. How long does a bee actually live?
In the spring and summer, like 6 weeks. Winter bees born in like October, November, can live all winter because they're not leaving the hive, so it's less stressful for them to be just staying in the hive.
Uh-huh.
Unless they get killed by the winter, but they don't
Yeah.
have to go out and work, so they can live 3 months.
Yeah. What's your favorite bee movie?
Ah, very good question. I like Secret Life of Bees, but the bee movie, the Jerry Seinfeld cartoon, is very cute.
Mm-hmm. And there was that documentary. Remember, we watched a documentary about a beekeeper, I think in Iran, that was just so wonderful.
Yep.
It's a fascinating topic. Bee, my little honeybee.
Bee,
Buzz
yes,
around, buzz around, buzz around. That's a song, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Hey,
honey bee songs.
when we return, I want to ask you some questions about the capital gains situation.
I'll start doing
Right?
the deep breathing now.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, what song are we playing?
Oh, well, look, I think we are going now to wait a minute, let me turn the page here.
Are we
Where is it?
chewing?
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I've started watching this great documentary. It's like a 2-hour documentary, and it's called The Sparks Brothers, because I had no idea that Sparks was such a big. They're unknown. Do you know the band Sparks?
No, Bob. That's why they're unknown.
Never heard of them.
And everybody seems to know who these people are, and they are the strangest looking. And they've been around forever, and they've influenced lots of people. One of them has a pencil mustache that goes he looks a little like John Waters.
I was just going to say, is it John Waters?
Yeah, it's not John Waters, but he looks that way. And at one point, his brother had an Adolf Hitler mustache. It was like half a mustache. And where you've got to see their videos that accompany their songs. But it's a fascinating.
They've been around since the
musical
70s,
journey.
Bob.
Pardon? Yeah, they've been around since this. They didn't want to be called the Sparks Brothers. They got rid of the word Sparks, but they have their song titles are synonymous. They're very strange. And indeed, they're going to be in the area because I know that they're on the Cape this coming week. Because when we were on the Cape this week, we went to see a movie and there was an advertisement for them. But just to give you an example of one of their songs, I'm playing their song that's based on a sneeze. A sneeze. And the song is called A Chew. It's
Bless you.
wild. And here is A Chew by
Bless you.
Sparks. Bless you.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning, January 18th, 2022 and counting. And we're having a very good day. What did you think of that song?
Hey, Bob, you're getting...
got to play that during pollen season.
You're getting more and more like Kenny every day.
I have that urge to go to Las Vegas at every other moment. Yeah, really. Hey, no, but what do you think, Rick? What would you give that song? A Choo? Did you like it?
No.
You didn't care for it.
Hey, Bob.
No.
Hate it.
Actually, no, it wasn't that bad, but it got a little annoying at the end.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
Just I bet you that your husband knows Sparks.
I'm going to ask him, and I'll be honest, I thought it was interesting. I kind of liked it, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of something Queen might do. So I thought it was...
Oh, yeah, a lot of their songs are Queen. I have a sense that maybe even Freddie Mercury was influenced by them because they've been around earlier than Freddie, I think. But the documentary is really worth seeing. And if you Google Sparks songs and get their videos, the videos are, I think one of them was a filmmaker to begin with. And so the films are so interesting and they're very strange. They are a very strange duo, but they're worth checking out. Sparks, everyone. Yeah.
And Jessica, I agree with you. It was a little Queenish, but I thought that's you listening to the words, it kind of sounded like a cross between Queen and Weird Al.
Yeah.
You know, like parodies. It was like a parody song, and it was like, eh.
Yeah, if you look at the names of their songs, they're so much like Al Yankovic, and I think he is on the documentary talking about them. I think so, and they have all these talking heads talking about how influential they were to the world. Sparks, strange, you know.
Can I make a documentary recommendation while we're on the subject?
Oh, please do.
I just watched The Alpinist on Netflix. And highly recommend. I got obsessed with the mountaineering when I read Into Thin Air by John Carr for book club several years ago, and just how crazy it is that these people put themselves in dire straits to climb mountains. But The Alpinist is about a Canadian climber who is a super young man, and he does the free climbing. So he's climbing the straight up rock faces with no ropes all by himself, solo climber. So it was fascinating to watch that film. And it's not super long, but it definitely was inspirational and a good watch. So highly recommend it.
Oh, I can't wait. I've seen that line there. I would also like to recommend, there are the two Beatles documentaries or series out. There's Beatles, what is it called? McCartney 1, 2, 3. And I think that's on Netflix or one of those, or Hulu or one of them. Really wonderful. He is with Rick Rubin, the producer, and they're at a mixer. And a mixer was a dance back in the 70s. They're not at a dance. the mixer, the mixing board is more a pizza alley. And so they're at the mixing board. And what Rick does is he moves it down so you can hear different parts of songs that you maybe not heard before. And Paul comments on those songs and the writing of the songs and why the editing, or what do you call that? The sound mixing was important. It's really wonderful. McCartney 1, 2, 3, and then of course there's the Beatles documentary that is on Disney Plus, and it's a series of stuff on the Beatles, and I also recommend that. That's got great reviews, and of course all the stories related to the Beatles are great, and you want to talk about them, but we're not allowed to play them on because YouTube. To explain that, Peter, why we can't have Beatles
YouTube doesn't
songs on
have
our
the rights to pay the. So a lot of copyright holders, they say you could put the music in your video, and the ads that you watch in front of a YouTube video end up helping to pay the copyright holder. They don't have that agreement with the Beatles library, who I think. Well, I know Michael Jackson owned it for a while, but I don't know who owns the library now.
Not sure.
Interesting. So if we play a cover of a Beatles song, is that okay?
Usually you can get away with that, yeah.
Okay, but a straight out and out version of a Beatles song, not so much. Hey, Jessica, as my realtor. Oh my God.
Just hey Bob, Bob and Jess, can I just interrupt you guys for one quick second? For those of you listening in Southwick, it was just posted that the Powder Mill School is closed today. Just the Powder Mill School was closed today. So just anybody listening to us in Southwick or watching us in Southwick. So
wow, what's happening?
It doesn't say. That comes directly from the Southwick Talon Regional School District.
Oh, interesting.
Says,
okay,
so.
Gotcha. Well, I hope all's well there. I know that all's well, not so much in the Plast family.
Uh-oh.
What do you not so much?
And
oh my God.
And Jessica, you thought you were done with this, didn't you?
I knew I would never be.
You're never going to be done. And my brother's going to be calling you.
We're life partners now.
Yeah. This is my brother's idea, is he calls Jessica Martin. Jessica is his backup expert. Yeah. And if he gets Jessica Martin on his side, okay.
Jessica, it's time to start charging consultant fees, because your realtor role is over. It's just once you put a $sign in front of it, your time.
Yep.
Poof! Watch them go away.
Number of calls.
Yes.
Quickly. I thought we were friends, but no one calls me anymore.
That's right.
Soon it'll be this.
So, yes. So what's going on with Dickie?
He called I sent him. We're trying to figure out our taxes. Okay, so when I was down in Rehoboth with Michael, my accountant, our CPA, we made a list of all the things that we could take off the capital gains, improvements on the house and everything. And then I sent it to my brother and to my sister and said, Carol, if you could, and I'd be glad to help you go through our father and our bills about the house so that we could have backup when we submit our capital gains, okay? Because we want to be honest about what we're doing. And Michael said there are certain areas, if you can't find something, you can then look at an estimated what it would cost at this time. Okay. Right. So I got a phone call. We were watching a film at night. Of course, we always from 6 until maybe 9, we're watching films together or documentaries or whatever, or Ari Melber or whatever. So the phone rang and it was about 8 o'clock. Okay. And we were in the middle of something really good. And the phone rang, and the phone is over there, right over there near the TV is right in front of me here. James gets up to look and see who it is. It's your brother, Bob. I went, my brother? Whatever. I said, oh my God, please. And it was Monday evening that he called. And I said, use the excuse, I'm in bed. I've got to prepare for my show tomorrow, so I'm in bed. And So so James takes the phone call. Well, you got to get him out of bed. It's important. It's important. And I thought, what could be important? And I'm going, no, I'm sleeping, etc. And so James said, well, I really can't do that. You've got to do that because this is very important. And James put his foot down. And so my brother said, okay, I'll tell you. Okay. Bobby sent an email with a list. I'm talking like my brother now. Bobby sent an email with a list of itemized things. That is not how it's going to work. Now, whoever that CPA is, he's got. My CPA he had an office on the top of the Bay State West building in downtown. What's the name of that building? No, the Tower Square building.
Tower Square.
And it is a really very good a very good accountant, and he's done our taxes for 5 years. And it is going to be, I'm telling him right now, while his CPA is doing everything legal by itemizing and everything, you don't need to do that. And Brian, my CPA, is going to present to us a sheet, and he will divide it into 3 of what our capital gains depreciation is on the house. And I don't want Bobby or Carol to submit their taxes with that other than Brian. In other words, don't use whoever that CPA is that Bob's got. You know, like my CPA is less than his CPA. You know, okay. And the reasoning is that we are setting ourselves up for audit. The government will then tag us because we haven't been consistent with our audit, with our CPA, whatever. And we all have to be on the same page, et cetera, et cetera. And so James yesed him to death and said, well, thank you very much, Dick. Send us what your CPA is doing, and I'll tell Bob, et cetera, et cetera. So then we got off the phone, and I said, he's not going to have his accountant from the top of Tower Square has not called us to ask us what we sold the house for, or what the house was sold for years ago, what my father bought the house, what the deed says, what we spent on this and this. And he's making up a list of things, and it's going to, according to Dickie, he's going to put it on under supplies rather than under depreciation. I don't know how it's working. So Carol and I have decided. Yes. Oh, you want to speak? Please speak, because I've been.
I just want to take it all in.
Rick, are you taking this all in? Please,
yes, I am, because
you're going to have to deal with this.
I know absolutely nothing about any of that stuff. I usually speak to my brother, who is a realtor, and leave everything up to my accountant. I keep all my receipts. I write on them what they are and put them in a, mostly in a safe place, usually scrambling around April something to find them. And then, hand them over to him, and he takes off, what I can take off in that. But I don't know anything about capital gains or depreciations or anything like that, out of my spectrum.
So, Jessica, well, going with what Rick said, was there anything about what I've said so far that has struck you that is not really copacetic with you?
No, nothing's. This is all perfectly normal in the case of 3 siblings trying to settle their parents' estate, for sure. I've seen it get even wilder than this. But what did you and Carol decide?
That we are going with our own CPA,
yes.
Because the federal government right now does not have an inkling that our CPA has been changed. and that the mere fact that we have a lot more money in our account may be a flag on its own that will target us for an audit. Thank you.
Hey, Bob, you're in Biden's America now. They're going to take everything you got and then some.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But the mere
And you will
fact,
gladly pay it, Bob, because you're a minion.
Ouch.
Hey, sorry.
A word? I'm going to look in the thesaurus. I found the thesaurus.
If the
over
glass slipper fits, wear it.
I'm a minion. Okay. Are you asking me out on a date?
No.
I think so. That was the glass slipper, I think, was the basically, right?
Really? It sounds like it. I'm not sure. But
actually, I would have used the term if the penny loafer fits.
Ah!
Okay. Don't you think it's rather strange that he thinks that if we don't use his accountant, that we are going to be up for auditing, and in order to avoid that, we have to use Brian, who is the accountant from Tower Square, at the top of Tower Square, rather than your CPA, Bob. Whoever he is.
You're using a CPA, I think that's all that matters. You do need a tax professional to guide you through this, and someone you trust and their best advice is going to be what you should go with. And they're going to sign the return. So they're going to do everything in their power to make sure you don't get audited. And if you are claiming your capital gains from a home sale, there's no reason that you would ever be audited. People sell houses all the time. Just because you haven't done it in a while, it doesn't go, oh, red flag, they sold a house, let's audit their taxes. Like,
would the government red flag us because we hadn't used Brian for the 5 years and we have changed our CPA?
I was going to say, people retire, people move, people don't like their accountant. There's a million reasons you would change accountants. So I think it would be stranger if you tried to do the return yourself when it's complicated like this. I think that would maybe raise, like if you were like, we're just going to use TurboTax, I think that might raise more of an issue. But like I said, when a licensed CPA who is required to take continuing education and all the things to maintain their licenses signs off on that document, I feel like you're on like the bottom rung of someone who's in the audit.
If he's making up figures and just putting down figures on a sheet of paper,
that sounds fishy.
Yeah.
It sounds fishy. Rick, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Well, you have to have documentation of everything. And whether it's
You face an audit, right? That's
right,
why
and you
we
face
save
an
all
audit. And
yeah,
you know, like Jessica was saying, if you're using a certified CPA, that's you know, that's not a buffer or guarantee that you're not going to be audited, but it's more, you're less likely to be because they are the professional and they are taking on that responsibility, is that they're doing everything right. Yeah, you know, I'm not going to use the defense that, you know, ignorance is no defense of the law, but you know, basically when it comes to tax laws, the general public are ignorant. I'll admit it. I'm ignorant. I don't know what can and can't be. That's why I hand every receipt to my accountant who does my taxes, and he tells me what I can and can't take off.
Yeah.
And what I can use.
And you trust him.
Yes.
I'm not so sure I'm trusting my brother's CPA for the mere fact that he isn't asking us to find receipts. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, that makes tons of sense.
Right.
And again, he might have a tried and true method where he knows he can get away with writing off X amount of depreciation just because that's the minimum you can write off without having to prove it or to be audited or something that'll just slide in under the radar. But yeah, maybe not the best practice. But you know, I wouldn't say, oh, he's, you know, doing something untoward, but it does feel nicer that your accountant is like, get all your paperwork together, because really that's what it comes down to with the taxes is if you have the paperwork, you can take the write-off. And if you don't have the paperwork, you better be prepared for it to come back and bite you later.
Right.
Yeah. So you advisors to Bob Plass, would you say
I'm
that?
an advisor now. I thought I was your personal assistant.
Oh, that's right.
Stepped up.
Hey, I got a promotion.
Please forgive me, Big Poppy. Forgive me, Big
Here,
Poppy.
let me change hats now.
Yeah, really. Oh, please, let's see that beautiful bald head of yours. I love it. You know how much I love you, personal assistant, Poppy, Big Poppy. So this is what we've decided. We're not telling my brother. We're asking my brother to submit us. Okay, Brian will send us this thing. We'll look at it and go, I'll show it to my accountant and we'll use our accountant. But we're not telling our brother that we're using another accountant, because quite honestly, it's none of his business. Because this is not a joint. Once we sold the house, this is about our money, not our joint money. What do you think, Jessica Martin, advisor to the stars?
I definitely think you have a right to use the tax professional of your choice. Just because you're all involved in the same transaction doesn't mean you have to use the same representative. So as long as the paperwork is done properly for your individual returns, I think you're safe to use whoever you want. But I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney.
But you are the Plass family.
Please seek advice. Yeah.
Counselor.
I think you'll be good to use your own accountant there, as long as.
But should we tell our brother? Are we asking for it if we keep it quiet, or should we tell him that?
I'm all for full transparency, and I mean, I've met your brother, so I understand why you want to avoid the conversation. But
yes,
I do think it's worth it to just say, hey, listen. We still want to use the person we're comfortable with. We're sure your guy's great, and you can still use your guy, but we're going to use our guy, and that's just going to be.
Well, what if I put it in the past tense? Wouldn't that be better? We've used our guy.
Yeah. Yes.
And then he'll be mad at me, but so what?
Yeah.
Nothing that he can do. There won't be any quote unquote bullying to try to get us to
sway you over. Yeah.
To sway you over. Yes. Rick, are you we're as my personal assistant, when do you want to bow in here?
I would go with somebody that you trust and somebody who you believe is looking out for your best interest.
Okay. But do I tell my brother or not?
Ooh. I don't think I can offer that advice. I don't want to start a family rift.
That's what I pay you for. I pay you the big bucks for this. Come on.
I haven't gotten my coffee in a few weeks, Bob. So
I might have to pay him more money.
Yeah, when you got to pay for your own coffee, you don't get free advice.
Yes.
Oh my God, you kids. I'm gonna send an Uber over with coffee from now on.
Just come on in, Bob. You know, if it's ice, if you're worried about the icy, you can park right up front here. It's when we get in, it's early. It's no big deal.
We'll see. Okay,
Bob. Let me ask you this: what are the consequences of you using your own CPA? And not saying anything? Is he going to be mad at you? Do you feel it's in the best interest of the family?
I feel it's in the best interest of my sister and my mental health.
Right. And then I would use who you trust. And would
and
I don't know. That's a tough thing. I say, hey, look, one of those things that's like, hey, look, we're going to be using this because I trust him. He's asking for receipts. He's asking for this to do it properly so we don't get in trouble. So I've
already said that.
And it didn't go over well, did it?
He doesn't care.
There are some people who don't listen to reason in the world, and we may have one on our here.
Now, who is the executor of the estate?
Oh, they own the house.
Jessica, who is it?
Who is the executor?
We're already through that. You guys own the house as a threesome, so it's a three-way partnership.
So the executor of the estate is all three of them?
Nope, there's no estate anymore.
There's no estate. Well, who was?
The home had already passed into their three names.
Oh,
so
okay.
Owners.
Okay.
Yes.
Trying to claim their capital gains. Does that That you guys haven't even split the money up? It's just sitting in the house bank account still?
No, we have our monies. We
Oh,
have
good.
our monies. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I have a question for you that I will text about our monies, because I got some things in an envelope from our lawyer or whatever, that the attorney over there in West Springfield, and he didn't put a letter in it, and there were just things, which one of them I think is a something for the government, for our taxes. I have no idea. He didn't tell me what it was.
It's probably for your capital gain, Bob.
Closing disclosure. Yeah, that could be.
Closing disclosure. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But you
All
know,
right.
if there's
Well,
if there's 3 of you and 2 of you agree,
yeah,
you go with the majority
Majority
rules.
rules.
We live in a democracy. Well,
there you go.
actually, we don't live in a democracy,
personal
but yes.
assistant, yeah, personal assistant, you have come up with the answer. Shouldn't we haven't talked about our reading at all today. Should we take a break, or do I go right straight through to
Go to the
8
end,
o'clock?
Bob.
Let's go to the end.
Let's go right to the end.
Straight to the
Jessica,
Yes.
we read Personal Librarian by Marie
So-
Benedict this week.
So yes,
this
so
month.
you read Personal Librarian.
Right.
I am about 70%, more than halfway, but not all the way finished yet. So I apologize for my slow reading.
No.
But it's a fantastic book so far. So was this a recommendation from James?
No, this was we read this with the our senior center. We have a book club at the senior center
I'm on the
that
email
we
list.
joined. Believe
I
it or
get the
not.
emails.
Huh?
I
Oh,
get
yes.
the emails from the Westfield Senior Center.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
Elizabeth Boucher, right?
Yes.
Yep.
You're
So
wonderful.
I get emails. I went to book club one time, 4 years ago at this point, 3 years ago. And I still remain on the monthly newsletter for the book club.
Oh, great.
I do get to see that, but I must have missed the note that was the one you read for that group.
Yes. Yeah. It was
that's
long
good.
ago, quite honestly. I mean, maybe about 3 months ago or so.
Okay.
We read this book. Tell everybody because we all gave it a thumbs up and a very high mark. It got high marks in our group, and I was surprised because I maybe gave it a 7 because I want to do that. I just felt that it is a fabulous story, and it's novelized, so it's based on truth.
That's actually
But
what I want to talk about, because that's one of the reasons I dislike historical fiction, because you have real people from history, but which parts are true and which parts are not true. And obviously they're making up the dialogue and the feelings
Yeah.
of the people, because we can't really speak to how they were feeling or what they were saying in the moment.
Yeah.
But the premise of the book is we have JP Morgan, and
JP Morgan, Rick.
he needs a librarian to curate his personal collection in New York City. So he hires a young woman who was currently working at Princeton in the library, and happens to work with JP Morgan's nephew in the Princeton library. So he recommends her for the position. Her family lives in New York City, and she's living at Princeton, so she's happy to come home and interview for the position. But it turns out her family is African American, and they are passing as a white family living in New York City, which at the time is a big controversy. So they would not have the station, the position, the jobs, the education. She has a brother in engineer college, 2 sisters who are teachers. It caused a big rift in the family because the father is all, pro-equality, and he's fighting for equality in the country. So it actually, divides the family. The father leaves the home because his wife wants to pass as white so that the children can have better opportunities, which is wonderful for a mother to do, but also horrific to think about having to make that choice to pretend you're something you're not, just so that you can have better opportunities in life. And again, the fact that we are still, like, it's a mirror, like we still have these problems today with equality. So I think that it's a good book to read anytime right now. The fact that this is still carrying over from so long ago. I think I'm at like 1905 or 1907 in the book.
Right.
And there are things that resonate to now. So I'm finding it fascinating, but I do have a hard time with historical fiction because JP Morgan's this and JP Morgan's that, and the woman says this, and I'm like, which parts are real? So I usually wait till I'm done reading to do my research and find out more about what was true and what was ad-libbed.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that I think the woman, uh, you can see pictures of the woman. The woman rose in New York society, and the Morgan Library today. I don't know. Do you know of the Morgan Library, Rick and Peter? Ever heard
No.
of the Morgan Library?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can visit it in New York. It is the depository of some of the greatest works of, like, for instance, they have first editions of Christmas Carol. I think they've got a Shakespeare folio. And this personal librarian, sort of like a personal assistant, uh, is out there buying books for the library and dealing with the rare books collection in Europe, and the way they millionaires bid for these books and all of that sort of stuff. This is all in that book. It's a world that we don't know about. You know, I have back here. I have a couple of books that were signed, and I think there's one first edition. Um, but I just can't. One of them is a Sherman Alexie book that has his signature in it, and Sherman Alexie is now a discredited novelist because of some sexual stuff that he had in his past or something. And so he's a quote unquote, not criminal, but, you know, persona non grata. But I got his signature back here. And then I've got a first edition of what's that book? What's the guy's name? I can tell you. John Cheever's Bullet Park. I have a first edition of that. And I keep thinking, it's not, is it worth anything or whatever? But in the long run, who knows? But what are you, so far on a scale of 1 to 5, what are you giving this book?
Oh, I'm gonna go strong 3.5 on this one because I am enjoying reading it. I like it when I read outside of my favorite genres and end up actually enjoying the story. And the writing's good, so 3.5.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 4 in the book club. Or no, I probably gave it a 10 because we have a scale of 1 to 10 there. But
Do 10? Okay.
no, I didn't give it a 10. I gave it a 7. Now that I think about it. But the name of the book is Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict. You know, I am reading right now. I've got all my books over here. This is the book I'm reading right now. I am so in love with Circe.
Okay.
I think we read a book about Achilles, didn't we? The Song of Achilles. Does that name ring a bell?
I
No.
did not read that, no.
This is based. You know who Circe was in Greek mythology, Rick?
No, I don't, Bob. I'm
She
not
was the
familiar.
Yeah, Circe was a magician. She was a witch, and she is the one that created the somehow in the Odyssey. Odysseus has to fight a bull, a minotaur, in a web, in a maze or something.
In the labyrinth, yeah.
In the labyrinth, that's exactly right.
She.
I can't put this book down.
It says
And
here
it's
that
told from,
in Greek mythology, she is an enchantress and a
yeah.
minor goddess in Greek mythology. She was renowned for her vast knowledge of potions and herbs. Through the use of these and a magic wand or staff, she would transform her enemies or those who would offend her into animals.
That's right. She created Scylla, the god of that four-headed monster that guarded there's a whirlpool or something. I don't know. But honest to God, Jess, if you want to think about reading this book for next time.
How big is that book? Let me see the spine.
It is
a very long book.
I'll tell you how many pages exactly. I think there are 372 pages. Okay. 300, something like that.
I'll get into that. I'll finish that personal library in the next couple days, so I can get into that for next time.
You know what? I was wondering why I recognized that name, and I just looked it up, and it's actually from the Odyssey.
Oh,
From the
That's
Odyssey,
right.
she turns the Odysseus's men into the pigs. In the Odyssey.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, and I didn't because I said I know that name, I just can't remember where it was from. So there we go.
Yeah.
It's one of the Wicked Queen names in Game of Thrones too.
Oh, really? See, I never
Spelled
got
the
into
same, but
never got into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody and Rick and Peter, if you feel like a good read and you like mythology, this is, and the best part about this book, at the end, it has who these people are in mythology. So it has the mortals, the kings and the queens and whatever. And one of the problems those Greeks had, the gods were they would ask their dates out and without any compunction about sleeping with them or not, and whether they were mortals, and you mix a mortal with a god, and then you get a semi-god, and then the semi-god sleeps. I mean, it's really something else. But Circe by Madeline Miller. She's got this is her second book. No, maybe it's her first book. And then she wrote The Hero of Achilles, I think, that I like that. But The Song of Achilles, it was called. And she's got a new one out now, and I can't remember, but they're all based on a myth. But there you go. That's what I'm recommending, and that's what I'm sticking to. Hey, Jess, if people wanted to see who you were or anything, they go to JessicaRealty.com.
JessicaMartinRealty.com. Yes, please. You can find me there, and there's links to all the social medias and the Martin Hives and all that stuff. Thank you.
Okay, so they could find information about how to go to B school.
Yes. Yep. And that's go to HCBEE. So Hampden County BEE.org, or just Google Beekeeping School, Massachusetts. But everybody should go to that if they can. It's super fun to take those classes and learn about the bees.
Fabulous. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And
hey,
just to toss out,
song that was
just to toss out there, Bob. Hey, just to toss out there, 2 weeks.
Oh my God, we got
the Penguin Plunge.
Next week we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about the plunge, but January 29th, come out and join me and jump in the water with me, if you'd like to.
Yes.
If not, help support the Amelia Park Children's Museum.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about more about
what?
that next week.
Jessica, I know, Big Poppy, I'm going to be writing a check for you.
That's great, Bob. We appreciate it.
All right,
that.
Bob, wrap it up. It's 8.
All righty. Hey, this is a song by the Hank Mobley Quartet. Peter's going to fade out at 3.25. It's a really great. It's called "This I Dig of You," and he was he's got some great compositions out. Hank Mobley Quartet. "This I Dig of You" from his great album. Thank you, Jessica. Love
See
you,
everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Big Poppy.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply.